speeding up the proceedings, though I do want to comment about the fact that we are reviewing the documents that were prepared for screening purposes in tenant situations, in the hope that we can get some of these documents drafted and put into effect without even having to amend the documents, which would just prolong the agony. And right now, I'm going through them and changing things to avoid any amendments to the documents. Sooner or later, we will have to amend the documents because we have a whole bunch of things we have to clean up besides just the screening process. But we'll take them as we come, and by the next meeting, Don and Virgil and Jack should be able to present to the board a set of screening applications with the appropriate terms and provisions, and once the board accepts it, we'll put it into play as quickly as possible. Rich?
At the end of April, the income expense statement shows income at $1,470,094 and expenses of $1,451,907. The rest of my report, I actually gave it at the last board meeting in April, and that'll be included in the next issue of RiverWalk Talk. That's it.
Point of order, please. I have a comment to make about the minutes that you accepted. I had a statement to make about the minutes to be corrected. So may I make that now? Do that now?
Sure.
Thank you.
Keep it brief, though, please. We have a lot to get through.
Hello, I'm Phyllis Ashley, Gila Lane. I wish to correct the end of the minutes of the end of last month's meeting, words spoken by Jeff Green. The car he mentioned did not and has never gone through a stop sign in RiverWalk. And that same car did not broadside the other party and send his wife to the hospital. Thank you.
It's not in the minutes.
Oh, I don't know. You know,
All right, you
never show the minutes.
how would you know what went on? You weren't here.
You never show the minutes.
Minutes are available.
Jeff?
I don't know what to say, boss.
Whatever comes to your mind.
Speechless.
I can think of some things.
Mystery minutes.
I'm just going to touch on a few things. Everything has been presented to the board for their scrutiny in my manager's report to the board of directors. We'll be stepping up this month. Next month, we'll be mowing 4 times a month. Looks like with the rain that we're getting, the grass will start to grow even if the lakes don't fill up. We're in the process of putting down, we finished our fertilizer to our turf areas, and we're in the process of fertilizing the shrub beds throughout the community, front and back on the houses and all throughout the common area. We just completed an application of chemical in the lakes that is targeting the growth that is occurring on the bottom of the lakes. We have a considerable amount of weed growth. It clogs our lakes and could be invasive if we do not control it. Our company is putting down a chemical that will kill much of this, not the beneficial, but the invasive. It may cause some algae blooms because it will be nourishment for the algae growth that typically occurs. However, with the extra treatments this year, we expect to have it under control very quickly. Roof cleaning's moving along well. When we get to the tile surfaces, or before we get there, I'll be surveying the condition of the tile surfaces on the homes with the Altusa clay tile and making a decision whether or not we're going to move ahead at this point with that cleaning. There was a meeting of the Covenants and Fining Committee today. Several fines were given out to people who have not adhered to the standards of the community and not cleaned, in this case in particular, driveway surfaces. It's my understanding that the committee now will proceed to go out in the community and determine what other things they'd like to see enforced. Painting project is moving well. We're down to, at this point, if it wasn't for the rain, I had anticipated we had 30 more units to paint over on the townhomes, and we'll be wrapping up hopefully for a very long time. Members of the Landscape Committee oversaw the new design that's out at the front entrance. We've used vermilias, bromelates. There's very few annuals out there, and we're trying to get away from replanting or planting a lot of annuals every year. And we're hoping that this will fill in and mature. Give us a little while. There's some ficus ground cover out there. It'll take a little while to fill in, but there'll be a solid green bed around the circumference of the front island. Well, it's almost June. We're getting a lot of crazy weather. We're getting a lot of rain. Hopefully we won't get any hurricanes, but I'd like to ask everybody that's staying to make sure that they've got their movable objects secured, or they can have a place to get them quickly should a storm approach. And I'd like to ask anybody that's remained behind to make sure that you leave nothing for us to clean up or catch if the wind starts blowing. Our plans are in place. We're starting to meet on emergency plans, and everything should go all right. As long as we don't have a storm like Oklahoma. Town Center building has been completed. Our bathrooms, everything on the first floor has been painted. And for the outside of the buildings in Town Center, I've just ordered 5 gallons of paint to match the outside to cover up some of the footprints that are starting to turn up on the lower parts of the wall. I guess when people are relaxing or chatting, they're only comfortable if they're standing on 1 foot with 1 foot on the wall. I don't have anything else to report at this point. Do you have any questions?
Any questions, Guy? Okay, you're off the hook, Jeff. Before we get to board reports, let me tell you folks that yesterday at 9 o'clock in the morning, the city held a workshop. The entire commission and the mayor and 9 people from South Florida Water Management were all there. It was a 3-hour meeting. At least an hour and a half was devoted to RiverWalk and its problems. Unfortunately, I didn't know that was going to happen. I was there, but nobody else was, so you'll have to take my word for the proceedings. Although you can watch it, I think they will replay it several times on their channel, which is either 19 or 20, I forget. Jeff, what's the city's channel?
18.
18, okay, fine.
And you can do it on the internet and stream it yourself.
Great. If you want, it's a fascinating meeting. It really is worth it. You'll even hear me say a few dumb things, but the problem that was confronting them And by the way, if you thought they didn't care about our lake levels, you would have been convinced otherwise, because a good half hour was devoted to how they can help us maintain our lake levels. I found that to be very interesting. The basis of the meeting really was caused by the fact that the commission, the 5 commissioners, have decided they're not going to use the hydrologist that the city is using, which means that our mayor chose. They want their own hydrologists, and their hydrologists were there. We have, the city applied about a month ago for a revised permit. The revised permit was granted. The revised permit affects us very much in a positive way, because it doesn't allow the city to go out and pull water from any of its wells until Clear Lake is 9 feet or under. And Clear Lake, as you know, if you've ever passed it going into, and everybody has going into the city, is a huge lake, and it would take a lot for it to get to 9 feet. We'd all be in big trouble well before then. That's a big plus for us. The commissioners, who actually 4 of the 5 of them are on our side, apparently are unaware of the fact that by holding these proceedings up, to have their hydrologists review what has gone on is detrimental to us. So first thing tomorrow morning, I'm going to have to get on the telephone with 1 or 2 of them to remind them that the provisions of the amended permit, which the city has gotten, very much takes them out of the picture of draining our lakes, because they can't use the wells they have near us, except under draconian conditions. So the fact that there is this public squabble going on between the mayor and the commissioners in this regard is hurting us. And we have to get it across to the commissioners that they've got to expedite the fulfilling of the city's mandate under the revised permit. And unfortunately, they may have already waited too long. The city was given 30 months to complete what is going to be a $24 million job. They have already lost 6 months out of those 30. And have missed one of the deadlines as a result of this conflict. So I don't care where they go with their own petty conflicts. It's important to us that the city be allowed to move ahead. And we will exercise whatever political clout we have, and I'm sure Len Finzi will help us do that as well, to get these commissioners off the dime and make a big fuss about something else, but not about what pertains to RiverWalk. So I thought you should know that. Okay, we'll move on to board report.
Order, please. You usually have a section where you allow homeowners to address the agenda.
I decided not to.
Oh, but I insist on it.
I'm sorry.
I insist on it as part of Robert's Rules of Law.
No, it's not. It was something that was put in, well, to quote an old president.
No, do not insult me or try to demean me again.
Demean you again? Phyllis, you demean yourself every time you open your mouth.